Imagine waking up on the morning of September 20th, 2025, and feeling like the entire universe is leaning in your favor. The air is crisp. The sunlight filters through your window with a sense of possibility. And deep inside, you know that this day could hold something extraordinary. Some people would call it coincidence. Others might call it luck. But if you've been drawn here today, I believe it's no accident. You're here because you're ready to tune in to the flow of prosperity, abundance, and alignment that has always been available to you. And in this episode of the Buddhist Teachings Podcast, we're going to explore 6 lucky numbers that carry unique energy vibrations designed to open doors for you, financially, emotionally, and spiritually, on this powerful date. Now, before we dive into the heart of this journey, let me pause and extend a simple invitation. If you're listening right now, and something inside of you already feels a spark, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss another chance to connect with wisdom like this. Drop a like on this video if you believe in the possibility of attracting abundance into your life, and leave a comment below sharing how prosperity shows up for you. Maybe you've noticed repeating numbers on receipts or clocks. Maybe you've had seasons when everything just seemed to flow in your favor. Your story matters, and by sharing it, you're not only affirming it for yourself, but inspiring others who are on this same path. Why do numbers matter? In the Western world, we tend to look at numbers as practical tools, ways to balance our checkbooks, keep track of time, or measure progress. But if you look closer, you'll notice that numbers are everywhere, not just in your bank account or your calendar, but in the rhythms of nature and the milestones of our lives. We celebrate birthdays by counting years. We mark anniversaries by counting decades. We organize our days into hours, minutes, and seconds. And whether we admit it or not, certain numbers feel special to us. Maybe you always notice the number 1111 when you glance at the clock. Or maybe you have a favorite jersey number that seems to bring you luck. These are not random quirks. They are subtle reminders that numbers carry energy. They're part of a universal language that transcends cultures and traditions. That's why in traditions like Buddhism, numbers are never just numbers. They are symbols, patterns, and guides. They remind us that life is not a series of isolated events, but a flow of interconnected energy. The number 8, for example, resonates with infinity and balance. The number 3 echoes creativity and harmony of body, mind, and spirit. When you begin to see numbers this way, you realize that prosperity isn't about stumbling into luck by accident. It's about aligning yourself with the energy that is already moving through your life. And that's exactly what we're going to explore together today. September 20th, 2025 is not just another date on the calendar. Astrologers and spiritual teachers alike point to this day as one marked by heightened cosmic alignment. Planetary shifts, lunar energy, and seasonal transitions all combine to create a powerful moment where clarity, intention, and opportunity are magnified. Think of it like standing at a crossroads where the traffic lights all turn green at once. You still have to drive the car, but the way forward is open, clear, and supported. And when you bring the right energy into that moment, the results can be extraordinary. So what does this mean for you in practical terms? It means that on September 20th, 2025, the universe is offering you a rare invitation. These 6 lucky numbers are not random digits pulled from a hat. They are codes, vibrations that help you focus your mind, clear away doubt, and open your spirit to receive what is meant for you. Whether that's a new financial opportunity, a breakthrough in your personal relationships, or simply a deeper sense of peace and clarity, these numbers act like keys that unlock doors you may not have even realized were closed. As we move through each of these 6 numbers, I want you to do more than just listen. I want you to reflect on how each number resonates with your own story. What doors do you need to open? What burdens are you ready to release? And what dreams are you finally prepared to say yes to? Because here's the truth. Prosperity doesn't come from wishing harder. It comes from aligning your actions, your mindset, and your energy with the opportunities that are already around you. Numbers are one of the simplest, most powerful tools to help you do that. Now let's go back for a moment to that morning image I painted at the beginning. Picture yourself stepping into your kitchen, making coffee, and noticing the clock as it strikes 7:20 a.m., the same digits as today's date. Imagine that subtle moment of recognition, that spark of connection, reminding you that you are exactly where you're meant to be. That's what it feels like when you're in alignment. It's not about magic tricks or superstition, it's about awareness. And awareness is the first step toward transformation. So as we open this journey together, I encourage you to keep an open mind and an open heart. These 6 lucky numbers are not about replacing your effort or hard work. They're about amplifying it, aligning it, and channeling it in ways that make your goals feel more achievable and your path more clear. If you've ever felt like you've been working hard but not seeing results, this might just be the missing piece. Once again, let me invite you to engage with this community. Subscribe to the Buddhist Teachings Podcast if you haven't already. Like this video if you believe in the possibility of abundance flowing your way, and share your experiences with numbers in the comments below. Have you ever noticed repeating patterns? Have you ever had a day when everything just seemed to line up perfectly? These stories are not just interesting anecdotes. They are proof that energy is real, alignment is possible, and prosperity is closer than you think. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to dive into the very first lucky number for September 20th, 2025. And I promise you, once you hear the meaning and the story behind it, you'll never look at that number the same way again. The first lucky number for September 20th, 2025 is number 8. At first glance, it may look simple, even ordinary. After all, we see 8 on clocks, in prices, and in phone numbers every single day. But when you pause for a moment and really look at it, you start to notice something powerful. Turn it on its side, and it becomes the infinity symbol, an endless loop, a reminder that life, wealth, and energy are not about a single point in time, but about flow, continuity, and balance. And that's exactly why number 8 carries such a magnetic force when it comes to prosperity. For Americans, the pursuit of prosperity has always been part of our story. It's in the dream of building a business from scratch, the grind of saving up for that first home, the pride of seeing a child graduate from college, or even the small daily joys like treating yourself to a cup of coffee without guilt. We tend to think of abundance as something we work for, something we earn through long hours, sweat, and persistence. And while there's truth in that, the number 8 asks us to consider something deeper. Abundance is not just about accumulation, it's about balance. Think of your own life for a moment. Maybe you've had times when you pushed yourself so hard at work that your relationships started to suffer. Or perhaps you've poured yourself into caring for family, only to feel your own energy running dangerously low. That's where the energy of 8 steps in. It reminds you that true prosperity cannot be measured by dollars alone. It must include peace of mind, health, relationships, and spiritual grounding. Without those, money becomes empty. With them, even modest resources can feel like more than enough. On September 20th, 2025, the vibration of 8 is amplified. It's a day when the universe is practically nudging you to restore balance in your life. Maybe that means reassessing your budget to not only save for the future, but also enjoy the present. Maybe it means setting healthier boundaries at work, so you can show up fully for your loved ones. Or maybe it's simply carving out time for yourself, to breathe, to reflect, to let your mind and body rest. And here's the interesting part. When you align with 8's energy, prosperity tends to follow naturally. Why? Because balance creates clarity. When you're not constantly running on empty, you can think more clearly, make better decisions, and notice opportunities you might have missed before. That business idea you kept putting off suddenly feels doable. That side hustle you thought was a long shot starts to make sense. Even in your relationships, the energy of balance opens doors. New partnerships, collaborations, or connections that help you grow. Americans love stories of comebacks, and number 8 is often the comeback number. It symbolizes cycles, the rise, the fall, and the rise again. Think of entrepreneurs who failed multiple times before striking gold. Think of athletes who came back from injuries stronger than ever. Think of everyday people who lost jobs, faced setbacks, but found resilience to rebuild. That's the spirit of 8. It tells you that setbacks aren't the end. They're just one loop of the cycle. The energy always comes back around, and if you stay aligned, it often returns with even greater force. Let's make this more practical. Imagine waking up on September 20th and seeing 808 on your phone screen. Instead of brushing it off, you pause and take it as a gentle reminder. Today is about balance. You decide not to rush through breakfast, but to sit and enjoy your coffee. You make a mental note to step outside during lunch, feel the sun on your skin, and breathe in fresh air. You go through your schedule and notice a task that doesn't really serve your goals, so you cross it off. In doing so, you free up energy for something more meaningful. By the end of the day, you feel lighter, clearer, and more open. That is 8 in action. Now let's zoom out. In Buddhist philosophy, 8 is also deeply symbolic. It connects with the noble eightfold path: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These aren't just lofty ideas. They are practical steps for building a life that feels aligned and abundant. And you don't have to be a monk or a scholar to apply them. Anyone can. When you speak kindly to a coworker instead of snapping in frustration, that's right speech. When you choose a career that doesn't just pay bills, but also contributes meaningfully to others, that's right livelihood. When you take a few moments to center yourself before making a big decision, that's right mindfulness. Each of these steps is like a brick in the foundation of long-term prosperity. For many Americans, the daily grind can feel overwhelming. Bills pile up. Deadlines loom. Social media constantly reminds us of what we don't have yet. But the number 8 challenges that narrative. It says, stop measuring your life by scarcity. Start recognizing the cycles of abundance already around you. Look at the paycheck that arrives every 2 weeks. Look at the roof over your head. Look at the meal on your table. These aren't small things. They are evidence of abundance already flowing. And when you appreciate them, you invite even more. Here's a simple practice you can try on September 20th. Write the number 8 on a piece of paper and place it somewhere visible. Your desk, your wallet, your bathroom mirror. Every time you see it, pause for just a few seconds. Ask yourself, am I in balance right now? If the answer is yes, give yourself credit. If the answer is no, make one small adjustment. Maybe it's drinking water. Maybe it's calling someone you love. Maybe it's putting your phone away for 10 minutes. These tiny shifts may not seem like much, but they ripple out. They recalibrate your energy, and that recalibration draws prosperity. Another way to work with the energy of 8 is through giving. Americans are some of the most generous people in the world when it comes to charitable donations, volunteering, and helping neighbors. The number 8 reinforces that generosity and reminds us that giving is not loss, it's circulation. Money, kindness, time, energy, they all flow in cycles. What you give today, you often receive back tomorrow in unexpected ways. So if you've been hesitant to give, September 20th is a perfect day to shift that. Donate to a cause, help a neighbor, or simply share words of encouragement. You'll be amazed how quickly that energy finds its way back. As we wrap up this exploration of number 8, let me leave you with this thought. Prosperity is not just about wealth. It's about wholeness. It's about the cycle of effort and rest, giving and receiving, rising and falling and rising again. On September 20th, 2025, let number 8 remind you that you're not running out of time, opportunities, or luck. Everything flows, everything returns, and abundance is already on its way to you. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll dive into the second lucky number for September 20th, and its message might just surprise you. The second lucky number for September 20th, 2025 is number 12. At first, it might seem like just another number. After all, we see it on the clock twice a day, in a dozen eggs at the grocery store, in the months of the year. But number 12 carries a much deeper energy. It represents structure, rhythm, and the idea that life unfolds in cycles. When you lean into the energy of 12, you find yourself aligned with patterns that bring stability and growth. Let's look at it through the lens of the American lifestyle. Think about a typical day here in the US. For many people, life is driven by schedules. 12 months in a year, 12 hours before noon, and another 12 after, 12 grades before high school graduation. The number 12 shows up again and again as a symbol of completion and preparation for the next phase. When you graduate from grade 12, for example, you're not done. You're stepping into college, work, or a new chapter. It's not an ending, but a gateway. That's exactly what 12 is about. Not closing doors, but preparing you for the next stage of prosperity. On September 20th, 2025, the universe highlights 12 as a signpost. It's a reminder that prosperity doesn't just happen randomly. It's built step by step, cycle by cycle. For Americans who thrive on setting goals and measuring progress, this message is powerful. If you've been feeling like you're stuck, 12 encourages you to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Maybe your financial growth doesn't come in one giant leap, but in steady increments, paycheck after paycheck, habit after habit, choice after choice. Think of saving for retirement. You don't suddenly wake up with a full 401k. You build it with steady contributions, month after month, often over decades. That's the rhythm of 12 in action. Small, consistent steps that lead to lasting prosperity. Or think about fitness. You don't transform your body overnight. It takes cycles. 12 weeks of consistent training, 12 months of showing up, building strength and stamina slowly. Number 12 reminds us that prosperity is a process, and those who respect the process end up reaping the greatest rewards. There's also a spiritual side to 12. In Buddhist teachings, 12 is associated with the 12 links of dependent origination, which explain how all experiences are interconnected. Nothing exists in isolation. Every thought, every choice, every action is linked to the next. For everyday life in America, this is a reminder that prosperity isn't just about what you do at work or in your bank account. It's also about the energy you bring into your relationships, your community, and even your thoughts. If you think negatively all the time, it influences your actions. If you cultivate optimism, that energy spreads outward and creates opportunities. Imagine you're planning your September 20th. You wake up and glance at the clock. It's 12 minutes past 7. Instead of brushing it off, you take it as a sign. Today, you'll honor the energy of 12 by bringing rhythm into your day. Maybe that means setting aside 12 minutes for meditation or quiet reflection before heading into the chaos of emails and meetings. Or maybe it's about breaking your day into cycles. Work for 90 minutes, pause for 10, repeat. This rhythm doesn't just make you more productive. It helps you feel balanced, present, and aware. For Americans who love routines but also crave freedom, 12 is a perfect guide. It gives you a framework without boxing you in. Think about how many cultural rituals here revolve around 12. The ball drops at midnight on New Year's Eve, marking not just an end, but a beginning. We celebrate with fireworks, resolutions, and hope for the year ahead. That's the spirit of 12. Closure paired with anticipation. September 20th, 2025 is your own mini New Year's Eve. It's a day to reflect on what cycles you're closing and what new ones you're ready to begin. Another dimension of 12 is teamwork. In sports, especially American football, you'll hear about the 12th man, the fans, whose energy lifts the players and changes the game. Prosperity works the same way. You might be talented, hardworking, and determined, but when you have a team, family, friends, co-workers, mentors, your path becomes smoother. 12 reminds you that you don't have to walk this journey alone. When you surround yourself with people who believe in you, support you, and celebrate your wins, prosperity multiplies. Let's make it more personal. Imagine you've been wrestling with a financial decision. Maybe whether to invest in a new course, start a side hustle, or put money into stocks. The number 12 whispers, seek rhythm and structure. Don't gamble everything at once. Instead, break the decision into steps. Research first, take a small action, evaluate, and then scale up. By honoring the cycle, you avoid chaos and build something sustainable. Americans are known for bold leaps, but the most successful stories often come from those who combined boldness with discipline. That's the energy of 12. Now, let's tie it back to prosperity. When you align with 12, you open yourself to wealth that's not only financial, but also emotional and spiritual. A balanced life brings peace of mind, and peace of mind allows you to take risks confidently. A structured approach to your goals prevents burnout, while cycles of rest and action keep you energized. On September 20th, if you lean into the vibration of 12, you'll find yourself making decisions that not only attract prosperity, but also sustain it. So how can you consciously invite 12's energy into your life on that day? Here are a few simple practices. Write down 12 things you're grateful for, focusing on both material blessings and personal experiences. Gratitude expands abundance. Spend 12 minutes journaling about what cycles in your life are closing and what new beginnings you're ready to embrace. Choose one goal and break it into 12 small, actionable steps. Commit to taking the first one on September 20th. These aren't just symbolic exercises, they're ways of aligning your mind and energy with the rhythm of prosperity. And when you do, you'll notice how much easier it feels to move forward. Opportunities flow more naturally, decisions feel less pressured, and your confidence grows. At the end of the day, number 12 is not just about order. It's about harmony. Americans often live in fast-paced, high-stress environments, juggling work, family, and personal ambitions. Number 12 steps in like a steady drumbeat, reminding you that prosperity is not about rushing, but about moving in rhythm. On September 20th, 2025, let it guide you to honor the cycles you're in, close the ones that no longer serve you, and step boldly into the new beginnings waiting for you. Stay with me, because the third lucky number we'll explore next carries a different kind of energy, one that speaks to transformation and renewal in ways that may surprise you. The third lucky number for September 20th, 2025 is number 19. At first glance, it might just look like a date on the calendar, but this number carries the energy of renewal, leadership, and stepping into your own light. Unlike the balanced cycles of 12 or the infinite flow of 8, the number 19 is about bold beginnings. It's a call to stop waiting for permission and start creating the life you want. In the American lifestyle, number 19 feels like that moment when you finally decide to take charge of your story. Think about turning 19 years old. For many, it's a milestone of stepping out of adolescence into early adulthood. You may not have everything figured out, but you begin to sense that your choices carry weight. Similarly, on September 20th, 2025, the vibration of 19 pushes you toward independence, courage, and the willingness to take a leap. So what does this mean for prosperity? Prosperity is rarely handed to us on a silver platter. It comes when we recognize opportunities and claim them. Number 19 reminds us that luck favors the bold. If you've been hesitating to apply for a new job, launch a business idea, or even ask for that long overdue raise, this is your signal. The energy of 19 says, step up, take the shot, and trust that you're ready. Consider how Americans love stories of trailblazers, people who saw things differently and dared to act. Entrepreneurs who launched companies in their garage. Musicians who kept playing in small clubs until their sound reached the world. Activists who spoke up when it wasn't popular. Each of them embodies the spirit of 19, vision plus action, courage plus persistence. On September 20th, the universe is urging you to embody a piece of that same energy in your own way. Now, 19 isn't only about financial gain. It's also about personal empowerment. Imagine waking up that morning and realizing you've been living by someone else's rules, following expectations, staying in a job that drains you, or holding back your voice in relationships. Number 19 arrives like a spark saying, it's time to write your own script. That doesn't necessarily mean burning everything down overnight. It means taking one clear step toward freedom and authenticity. Maybe that's starting a side hustle, enrolling in a class, or setting a boundary you've avoided for years. In Buddhist philosophy, 19 can be seen as a bridge number. The 1 represents new beginnings, self-leadership, and independence. The 9 symbolizes completion, wisdom, and letting go. Together, 19 is about closing one chapter and confidently opening another. For Americans, this resonates strongly with our cultural love for reinvention. How many times have you heard someone say, I started over at 40, or I switched careers and found my calling? That's the rhythm of 19. You end something with courage, and you begin something with hope. Let's make this practical. Imagine it's September 20th, and you keep seeing 19, maybe on a receipt, a license plate, or even as 119 on the clock. Instead of brushing it off, take it as a prompt. Ask yourself, what part of my life is ready to close? And what part is ready to begin? It might be as small as decluttering a drawer and making space for something new, or as big as deciding to finally chase a dream. Either way, the energy of 19 supports bold moves. Americans often measure life in milestones: turning 18 and voting for the first time, turning 21 and legally drinking, turning 30 and reflecting on adulthood. But 19 is special. It sits between the old and the new, reminding you that change doesn't wait for a perfect moment. It arrives when you're willing to act. Prosperity, in this sense, is not about waiting for luck. It's about stepping forward when opportunity knocks. Here's an example. Suppose you've been considering a career change. The thought scares you. What if it doesn't work out? What if you fail? Number 19 says, failure is not the end. It's part of the cycle. Remember, 1 is beginnings, and 9 is endings. Together, they form a complete cycle that allows for trial, error, and rebirth. If you never step out, you'll never know what's possible. The energy of 19 encourages you to trust your instincts, take risks, and believe in your ability to adapt. There's also a communal aspect to 19. While the number emphasizes independence, it doesn't mean isolation. Think of the power of one inspiring the power of many. A single voice can spark a movement. A single idea can transform a community. A single act of generosity can inspire countless others. Prosperity isn't only about what you gain individually. Under the influence of 19, it's also about how your courage lifts others. And in American culture, where community often rallies around bold individuals, this is especially significant. To bring 19's energy into your day on September 20th, try a simple ritual. Write down one thing you're ready to end and one thing you're ready to begin. Be honest and specific. Then take a small action toward that beginning before the day ends. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Even making a phone call, sending an email, or sketching out an idea can set the cycle in motion. The point is to honor the closing and embrace the opening. That's the true prosperity 19 offers. Remember, wealth isn't only about money. It's about living a life that feels authentic, purposeful, and full of possibility. Number 19 invites you to trust that when you step into your own power, the resources, opportunities, and support you need will appear. It's like the old saying, leap, and the net will appear. On September 20th, 2025, the universe is giving you that leap. So, as you move through your day, notice where 19 appears. Notice where endings are nudging you and where beginnings are calling. Let the energy of 19 guide you to release fear, embrace courage, and step into prosperity that feels uniquely yours. Stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll uncover the fourth lucky number for September 20th, and it carries a message of grounding and stability that beautifully balances the boldness of 19. The fourth lucky number for September 20th, 2025 is number 27. At first, it might seem like an ordinary number, something you glance at on a calendar or a scoreboard without much thought. But when you pause to explore it, 27 reveals itself as a number of wisdom, compassion, and quiet power. If number 19 was about bold beginnings, 27 is about aligning those beginnings with deeper meaning, ensuring that your journey isn't just about success, but about fulfillment. In the American lifestyle, we often equate prosperity with accumulation. More money, more things, more milestones. But as many people eventually discover, more doesn't always equal better. That's where the energy of 27 steps in. This number reminds you to balance ambition with compassion, wealth with purpose, and achievement with generosity. It's the kind of wisdom you hear in stories of people who climbed the ladder of success, only to realize their true happiness came when they started giving back. Let's break it down. Numerologically, 2 represents cooperation, balance, and connection. It's the energy of partnerships, community, and empathy. Meanwhile, 7 is the seeker's number, the vibration of spiritual insight, inner wisdom, and a deeper understanding of life's mysteries. When 2 and 7 combine into 27, you get a powerful synergy. Compassion, guided by wisdom. It's not just about helping others blindly, and it's not just about gaining knowledge in isolation. It's about merging heart and mind in a way that creates real prosperity for yourself and those around you. Think about how this shows up in everyday American life. Picture a business owner who not only grows a company, but also mentors young entrepreneurs. Or a family that prioritizes financial stability, but still donates to local charities, volunteers at community events, or supports causes they care about. That's 27 in action. Prosperity that circulates. When you align with the energy of 27, your wealth doesn't just stay in your bank account. It flows outward and circles back to you in new forms of abundance. On September 20th, 2025, the vibration of 27 suggests that prosperity will be linked to your willingness to connect with others and to act with integrity. It's not the day to hoard, hide, or push people away. Instead, it's the day to ask, how can I make my success meaningful? How can I align my personal growth with something bigger than myself? Americans love the idea of legacy, building something that lasts beyond your lifetime. 27 carries that same frequency. It's about creating impact that outlives you. Now you might wonder, how does this apply to practical prosperity? Imagine you've been working on a financial goal, maybe paying off debt, saving for a home, or building an investment portfolio. The energy of 27 suggests that you'll move further, faster, if you seek advice, build relationships, and approach your journey with humility. It's not just about going it alone with a me versus the world mindset. It's about realizing that collaboration, mentorship, and openness can accelerate your growth. There's also a spiritual side to 27. In Buddhist teachings, compassion and wisdom are inseparable. Compassion without wisdom can be naive, and wisdom without compassion can be cold. Together, they form a complete path. Number 27 echoes this balance, reminding you that prosperity isn't just about accumulating wealth. It's about using that wealth wisely and compassionately. Americans often admire figures like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, not just for their financial success, but for the way they've chosen to give back. That's 27. The recognition that true abundance is measured in impact. Let's make it personal. On September 20th, you might find yourself faced with a choice. Keep something to yourself or share it. Stay silent or offer advice. Invest only in your own gain or extend a hand to someone else. Number 27 suggests that choosing the generous path will not only feel good, but will open doors you didn't see before. It might be a networking opportunity, a new friendship, or even just the satisfaction of knowing you made a difference. Prosperity, after all, is holistic. It thrives where gratitude, connection, and generosity are present. One practical way to tap into 27's energy is to practice what I call prosperity circulation. Instead of holding tightly to every dollar, every idea, or every opportunity, let some of it flow. Maybe you tip a little extra at your local diner, knowing the waitress is working 2 jobs. Maybe you share a resource or contact with a colleague instead of keeping it to yourself. Maybe you invest time in teaching your kids financial literacy, ensuring they grow up wiser than you did. These actions may seem small, but under the influence of 27, they ripple outward and create unseen returns. American culture often highlights the lone hero, the self-made man or woman. But if you look closer, every success story is filled with connections, mentors, and acts of generosity along the way. 27 pulls back the curtain on that truth. It tells you that prosperity isn't about climbing to the top alone. It's about bringing others with you, or at least creating a path others can follow. When you embody 27, your prosperity multiplies because it's tied to something bigger than your own ambition. Here's an exercise you can try on September 20th. Write down 2 things. First, list one way you've benefited from someone else's generosity or wisdom. Second, list one way you can pass that forward today. Then, act on it. It could be as simple as calling someone to encourage them, buying coffee for the person behind you in line, or sending a note of gratitude. The point is to align yourself with the energy of 27 by allowing prosperity to flow in both directions, receiving and giving. And don't forget, wisdom is part of 27's vibration. This isn't about reckless giving or blind trust. It's about thoughtful generosity, where you help without harming yourself and guide without controlling others. Americans value practicality, and 27 honors that. You don't have to donate your entire paycheck or sacrifice your own well-being. Instead, you practice prosperity with balance, care, plus clarity. That's where lasting abundance is found. So, as you move through September 20th, 2025, watch for the number 27. Notice when it appears in small ways, a house number, a phone call at 2:27, or even your receipt at the grocery store. Take those moments as reminders to align your prosperity with purpose. Ask yourself, am I using my wisdom compassionately? Am I allowing my success to circulate into something meaningful? The beauty of 27 is that it doesn't demand grand gestures. It invites steady, intentional action that builds a foundation of prosperity rooted in kindness, wisdom, and connection. And when you embrace that, you'll find that your wealth, financial, emotional, and spiritual, grows in ways that surprise you. Stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll dive into the 5th lucky number for September 20th, one that carries the energy of freedom and transformation, shaking up the ordinary to make way for extraordinary growth. The 5th lucky number for September 20th, 2025 is number 14. At first glance, it might seem like just another stop along the way. Nothing flashy, nothing that screams importance. But look deeper, and you'll see that 14 holds the energy of freedom, adaptability, and transformation. If number 27 taught us the wisdom of balance and compassion, 14 steps in with the spark of change, the willingness to break free from what's stale and step boldly into something new. In the rhythm of American life, we love the idea of reinvention. Think about it. Every January, millions of people write New Year's resolutions. Every fall, students head off to college to start fresh. Every few years, families move to a new town, chasing opportunity or adventure. Reinvention is part of the American spirit, and 14 is its numerical embodiment. It says, don't stay stuck in what no longer fits. Adapt, shift, redefine. Numerologically, 1 is the number of leadership and beginnings. It's bold, independent, and determined to carve its own path. Meanwhile, 4 is the builder's number, steady, disciplined, and rooted in practicality. When they join as 14, the message becomes clear. True freedom doesn't come from chaos, but from combining bold choices with a solid foundation. It's about creating a life that's both adventurous and secure. Imagine an American family sitting at the dinner table, talking about whether to take a leap, maybe starting a small business, moving to a new city, or taking that once-in-a-lifetime road trip across the country. There's excitement in the air, but also hesitation. Can they afford it? Will it work? Number 14's vibration is right there, whispering, yes, take the leap, but do it with wisdom. Plan enough to give yourself stability, then trust the process. That's the beauty of 14. It encourages transformation without recklessness. On September 20th, the energy of 14 suggests that prosperity will come through adaptability. This isn't the day to cling to rigid plans or outdated habits. Instead, it's a time to ask, where am I holding on too tightly? Where am I resisting change that could actually set me free? Americans value independence, but real independence doesn't mean isolation. It means the ability to move fluidly through life's changes without losing your sense of self. Think about the classic American road trip. You set out with a destination in mind, but along the way, the most memorable moments happen in the unexpected detours, the quirky diner on Route 66, the roadside attraction you hadn't planned for, the small-town festival you stumble upon. That's the spirit of 14. It's not about discarding the plan altogether. It's about leaving room for freedom, spontaneity, and new opportunities along the journey. Now, let's talk about money, because prosperity is at the heart of these numbers. Under the influence of 14, financial breakthroughs often come through flexibility. Maybe you've been fixated on one way to grow your wealth, one job, one investment, one rigid plan. But on this day, opportunities may show up that require you to pivot, a side hustle that turns into something bigger, a chance to invest in a friend's business, or even the realization that spending less in one area frees you up to enjoy more in another. The energy of 14 rewards those who are willing to adapt. There's also a spiritual lesson here. In Buddhist wisdom, clinging is the root of suffering. We cling to routines, identities, even pain, because they feel familiar. But 14 nudges us to let go of the old script and embrace change as a gateway to freedom. Think of someone who has stayed in a draining job for years out of fear, or held onto a relationship that no longer nurtures them. The number 14 arrives like a gentle but firm hand on the shoulder saying, "It's time. You're ready to move forward." In American culture, we celebrate stories of people who reinvent themselves, athletes who transition into entrepreneurs, teachers who become writers, or retirees who start second careers. Those stories are proof of 14's energy. They remind us that transformation isn't limited by age, status, or background. It's available to anyone who's willing to step out of their comfort zone with both courage and practicality. Here's a practical exercise for September 20th. Take a piece of paper and draw 2 columns. In the first, list something in your life that feels rigid, stale, or limiting. In the second, brainstorm one way you could bring flexibility or freedom into that area. For example, if your finances feel stuck, maybe you explore a creative side hustle. If your daily routine feels dull, maybe you add a new hobby or schedule a trip. The point isn't to overhaul your entire life overnight, but to invite the vibration of 14, freedom paired with grounded action, into your daily choices. Number 14 also carries karmic weight. It's sometimes called the karmic debt number, reminding us that freedom comes with responsibility. In other words, if you've cut corners in the past, avoided accountability, or taken reckless shortcuts, those patterns might catch up with you now. But don't see that as punishment. See it as an invitation to reset. Americans often say, "You reap what you sow." 14 echoes that truth. Prosperity flows most smoothly when your freedom is balanced with responsibility. Picture someone buying a lottery ticket, hoping for instant riches. That's not 14's energy. Instead, imagine someone who builds a small side business out of passion, baking pies, designing websites, or coaching youth sports. And over time, it grows into something meaningful and profitable. That's 14 at work. Prosperity through adaptability, creativity, and consistent effort. And here's the exciting part. 14 isn't just about personal freedom. It's also about inspiring others. Think of the ripple effect when one person chooses to live authentically. A parent who takes a leap to pursue their dream shows their kids that it's possible. A friend who moves across the country for a new opportunity gives others courage to follow their own callings. Under the energy of 14, your willingness to embrace change doesn't just benefit you. It lights the way for those around you. So, as September 20th, 2025 approaches, ask yourself, where do I need to invite more freedom into my life? What changes am I ready to embrace, even if they scare me a little? Then trust that the vibration of 14 will support you. Don't confuse freedom with recklessness. Instead, think of it as spaciousness, a way to breathe, move, and grow, without the chains of outdated habits holding you back. Stay open, stay flexible, and remember, prosperity often flows to those who are ready to pivot when the universe nudges them. Lucky number 14 is that nudge. It whispers, "You're not stuck. You're evolving. Take the leap." And in the next part, we'll uncover the 6th lucky number, a vibration that ties all these lessons together and points the way toward balance, prosperity, and lasting abundance. The 6th and final lucky number for September 20th, 2025 is number 8. Unlike some of the other numbers we've explored, which whisper softly or nudge you gently, 8 is bold. It doesn't just walk into the room, it fills it with presence. In nearly every culture, 8 has been tied to power, prosperity, and balance. And in the context of the American lifestyle, it resonates with 2 values deeply ingrained in the culture: ambition and fairness. Picture the number 8 itself, 2 circles stacked on top of each other. It's symmetrical, perfectly balanced, and endless. Tilt it sideways, and it becomes the infinity sign, a symbol of flow that never ends. That's the essence of 8, a reminder that abundance isn't a one-time jackpot, but a continuous cycle of giving and receiving, effort and reward, work and rest. In the fast-moving American economy, people are often taught to hustle endlessly, to grind, to outwork, to push through exhaustion. Number 8 challenges that idea. It doesn't deny the value of ambition, but it insists that true prosperity comes only when ambition is paired with balance. Think of the entrepreneur who not only builds a thriving company, but also makes time for family dinners. Or the athlete who trains fiercely but prioritizes recovery and mental health. That's the energy of 8 in action. Success with sustainability. Numerologically, 8 is the powerhouse number. It's about material success, leadership, and the ability to manifest big goals. But it also comes with a spiritual undertone. Karma. Americans love the phrase, "What goes around comes around." That's 8. It's the universal law that says every choice carries weight, every action echoes, and every investment, whether financial, emotional, or spiritual, returns to you in time. On September 20th, this karmic flow is especially strong, meaning that the energy you send out that day will circle back quickly. Let's bring it down to everyday life. Imagine you're negotiating a raise at work. The number 8 encourages you to step into that meeting with confidence, clarity, and fairness. You don't demand recklessly, but you don't undersell yourself either. You show up prepared, you advocate for your value, and you expect to be compensated accordingly. That's prosperity rooted in balance. Or picture someone running a small business. Under 8's influence, their success won't just come from chasing profits. It will come from running their operation ethically, treating employees fairly, and serving customers honestly. In the long run, that's what creates real abundance. In Buddhist teachings, 8 is deeply significant because of the Noble Eightfold Path, a practical guide to living a life of clarity, compassion, and purpose. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These steps are a roadmap to inner peace and outer prosperity. When you align with number 8, you're not just chasing wealth. You're embodying a way of life that keeps your inner world steady while your outer world expands. Americans often admire stories of people who've built themselves up from nothing, immigrants arriving with little but creating thriving businesses, or individuals who worked their way through school and became leaders in their fields. These stories inspire because they reflect the determination, resilience, and ambition of 8. But the lesson of 8 isn't just about rising, it's about rising responsibly. When ambition turns selfish, it collapses under its own weight. When ambition is balanced with fairness, it builds legacies. So how can you work with 8 on September 20th, 2025? First, set a clear financial intention. This isn't a day for vague goals like, I want to be richer. Be specific. Decide how much you want to save, where you want to invest, or what step you'll take toward financial freedom. Second, check your actions against the principle of fairness. Are you cutting corners? Are you making decisions that might harm someone else just to get ahead? If so, 8 will eventually correct that imbalance. But if you act with integrity, 8 amplifies your results. There's also a mindset piece to 8. Many Americans struggle with the idea of enough. They chase more income, more possessions, more recognition, without stopping to ask, when will I feel abundant? Number 8 challenges that chase. It teaches that abundance isn't measured only in accumulation, but in alignment. Are your finances aligned with your values? Is your ambition aligned with your well-being? Is your success aligned with your relationships? When the answers lean toward yes, that's when prosperity feels real. Think about the infinity sign again. It flows endlessly because there's no blockage. But if you cling too tightly to what you have, if you hoard, fear, or refuse to share, you interrupt the cycle. 8 reminds you that prosperity flows when energy flows. Generosity isn't loss, it's circulation. Spend where it matters. Give when you can, and trust that what you release will find its way back. In American culture, philanthropy reflects this truth. The wealthiest often give millions not only because they can, but because they know abundance multiplies when it's shared. On September 20th, watch how 8 shows up in your life. Maybe you see it on a license plate, a receipt, or even the clock when you check your phone. Take it as a sign to check your balance. Are you grinding so hard that you're burning out? Are you chasing money at the cost of peace? Or on the other side, are you holding back out of fear, not taking the risks that could unlock your next chapter? 8 urges you to find the middle ground. Ambition without burnout, generosity without depletion, confidence without arrogance. Here's a simple practice. Write down 8 things you're grateful for and 8 goals you want to achieve. The gratitude list grounds you in abundance you already have, while the goals remind you of the prosperity you're building. This balance, appreciation plus ambition, is the heartbeat of 8. As we close this section, remember that 8 is the culmination of the journey we've been on through these 6 numbers. It ties together the creativity of 3, the resilience of 19, the balance of 27, the freedom of 14, and then magnifies them with its own strength. It tells you that prosperity isn't just about chance. It's about alignment, fairness, and the willingness to let abundance flow without fear. So, on September 20th, stand tall in the energy of 8. Make bold choices, but make them responsibly. Embrace ambition, but pair it with balance. Allow prosperity to circulate, and trust that what you send out will come back multiplied. That's the promise of 8, the final lucky number guiding you into a day filled with potential, purpose, and prosperity. Next, we'll move into the transition, the hook that connects these numbers to the deeper meaning of timing, choices, and the power of being present in the moment. We've just walked through 6 powerful numbers, each one carrying its own story, its own vibration, its own way of showing you that prosperity is not a random accident, but something you can align with. And now comes the moment where all of these threads need to be tied together, where we step back from the details and look at the bigger picture. Because the truth is, numbers alone don't change your life. What changes your life is how you respond to them, how you act when the timing is right, and how you choose to carry that awareness into your daily routine. Think of it this way. Imagine you're driving down a highway in the United States. You've got 6 different signs pointing out the exits, each one marked with a number, each one promising something unique if you take the turn. But here's the thing. You can't stop at every exit all at once. You have to decide when to slow down, when to make the turn, and when to stay the course. That's what these numbers are. They're signals, not shortcuts. They don't guarantee overnight success, but they give you the confidence that if you pay attention and move with intention, you'll find yourself on the right road. This is where the hook lies. September 20th, 2025 isn't just another date on the calendar. It's a window, a rare alignment of energy, timing, and opportunity. Some people will treat it like any other day. Wake up, rush to work, pay the bills, scroll through their phones, go to bed, repeat. But others, the ones who notice the patterns, the ones who listen to that inner nudge, will see it as a turning point. Which group you fall into depends entirely on how willing you are to pause, reflect, and act with purpose. Americans, perhaps more than anyone else, live in a culture that celebrates speed. Fast food, fast internet, fast results. But what if the real key to prosperity isn't speed at all? What if it's presence? What if the true power of September 20th lies in how you slow down just long enough to notice the signs, to listen to your intuition, and to act in alignment with the bigger picture? That's the hook we're stepping into now. Let me put it in everyday terms. Imagine you've been grinding away at your job for months, maybe years. You're tired, you're stressed, and you're not even sure if all that effort is getting you where you want to go. Then one morning you wake up and something feels different. You glance at the clock. It's 8:08. Later, you see the number 27 on a receipt. Then 14 pops up in a random ad. You shrug it off at first, but the pattern keeps showing up. This is where the hook comes in. The universe is nudging you, reminding you that you're not just spinning your wheels. You're in the middle of a bigger rhythm, a flow that's asking you to trust it and lean into it. Buddhist teachings remind us that nothing exists in isolation. Every moment is connected to the next. Every choice ripples outward. The 6 numbers we've explored are like stepping stones across a river. If you take them one at a time, carefully and deliberately, they carry you safely to the other side. But if you ignore them, if you charge ahead without awareness, you risk slipping, stumbling, or ending up stuck where you started. The hook here is simple but profound. Awareness is prosperity. Not money in your pocket, not luck at the lottery counter, but the awareness to notice, to align, and to move with the rhythm of life. Americans often ask, when is the right time? The right time to change jobs, to invest, to move, to start over. The message of September 20th is clear. The right time is when you're present enough to recognize it. These numbers don't hand you guarantees, but they highlight opportunities. They're the cosmic version of a green light at a busy intersection. You still have to press the gas, but the signal is telling you it's safe to move forward. Think of your favorite American traditions. Thanksgiving dinners where families pause to reflect on gratitude, New Year's Eve when people set resolutions, or even the quiet of a Sunday morning before the week begins. These are moments when people step back from the noise and recalibrate. September 20th offers the same kind of moment, but with a cosmic edge. It's not just about pausing. It's about noticing the numbers, the signs, and the timing that tell you prosperity is within reach if you're willing to act. So here's the challenge, and here's the invitation. As you reflect on these 6 numbers, don't just listen passively. Ask yourself, where do these numbers show up in my life? Which of their lessons speaks most directly to the season I'm in? Which one feels like a mirror reflecting my current journey? That's how you turn abstract numbers into real transformation. By connecting them to your story, to your choices, to your lifestyle. The hook is about momentum. Up to this point, we've been unpacking meanings, exploring vibrations, and reflecting on symbolism. Now, we pivot. We shift gears into practical application, because prosperity doesn't land on your doorstep by accident. It arrives when you meet the universe halfway. The next part of this journey will be about timing, the specific hours on September 20th when the window is wide open, when the flow is strongest, and when your intentions are most likely to align with results. Stay with me, because what comes next isn't just theory. It's action. It's the bridge between awareness and prosperity. And if you've ever wondered, when should I move? When should I act? The answer is closer than you think. That's the transition we're stepping into now. As we arrive at the final stretch of this journey together, take a deep breath and think back on everything you've just heard. From the very first moment, when we talked about tuning into the universe's rhythm, all the way through each of the 6 lucky numbers, you've been slowly piecing together a roadmap that isn't just about money, but about meaning. Numbers, after all, are not just symbols on paper. They are vibrations, reminders, and invitations. And September 20th, 2025 is not just another date on the calendar. It is a doorway, a chance to reset how you move through life. Think about what we've explored. Each number wasn't presented to you as a magic trick, but as a lens, a way of seeing yourself, your habits, your decisions in a clearer light. Lucky numbers aren't about waiting for a miracle lottery win. They're about alignment. They help you focus your energy, your attention, and your intention. And when you're aligned, things flow more naturally. Suddenly you notice opportunities you used to overlook. You feel stronger about saying yes to the right chances and no to distractions. That's prosperity in its truest sense. Not just wealth, but clarity and freedom. American life, for many of us, moves fast. We juggle jobs, bills, family responsibilities, and the endless to-do list that fills every day. It can feel like we're running on autopilot, just trying to keep up. But if you pause for a moment, if you allow yourself to reflect like you did while listening here, you start to see that there's another way. You don't need to keep chasing more noise. You need to create space for what actually matters. And that's what today's journey was about. These numbers are not arbitrary. They're anchors, small but powerful reminders that abundance is possible when you slow down, pay attention, and make choices with purpose. As you think about September 20th, ask yourself, how will I carry this knowledge forward? Maybe you'll write the numbers down in a journal, place them on a sticky note on your desk, or set them as reminders on your phone. Maybe you'll carry one in your pocket as a quiet token, not to control fate, but to remind yourself that you are part of something bigger. This simple act can turn an ordinary day into a moment of connection with the universe. And when you carry that sense of connection, you move differently. You stand taller, speak clearer, and approach challenges with more confidence. Now let's ground this wisdom in the teachings of Buddhism. At the heart of Buddhist philosophy is mindfulness, the practice of being present with intention. Every lucky number we've discussed is, in a way, an invitation to be mindful, to notice patterns, to become aware of the subtle energy that flows through your daily life. Prosperity, then, isn't about clinging to wealth or chasing status. It's about aligning with values like gratitude, compassion, and right action. When you live this way, prosperity becomes a natural byproduct, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Think of prosperity as a ripple. When you are at peace, when you act with integrity, when you find balance, those around you feel it. Your family, your friends, even strangers crossing your path. They sense the calm confidence you carry. And that energy spreads. This is why Buddhist wisdom reminds us that abundance isn't just personal, it's communal. What you cultivate within yourself radiates outward, shaping your world. So when you embrace these 6 lucky numbers, don't just hold them as secret codes. Share their energy. Live in a way that makes others feel more abundant simply by being in your presence. And here's the truth. You didn't arrive at this video by accident. Something nudged you here. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was hope. Or maybe it was a quiet whisper inside saying, I'm ready for something different. Whatever it was, trust it. The very fact that you're here, listening, means the seed has already been planted. The question now is, will you water it? Will you take these insights and actually practice them, not just once on September 20th, but every day after? Before we part, let me leave you with this thought. Prosperity isn't a destination, it's a practice. It's in the way you spend your mornings, the way you make decisions, the way you treat people. It's in the way you carry yourself when nobody's watching. And just like numbers, prosperity multiplies when you align it with gratitude and intention. Remember, you don't have to chase abundance. When you are aligned, abundance chases you. If you found value in this journey, if these words lit even the smallest spark inside you, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the Buddhist Teachings Podcast, because this is just one chapter of a much larger journey. Every episode is another chance to reset, to realign, and to grow alongside a community of people just like you. People who believe that life can be richer, calmer, and more meaningful. Now, I invite you to take a simple step. Comment below with the affirmation, "I am ready to attract prosperity and live with purpose." Writing it down is not just for me, it's for you. It's a way of sealing your intention, of telling the universe you're serious. And who knows? That one small act could be the catalyst for change in ways you can't yet imagine. So as you step into September 20th, 2025, carry these numbers with you. Carry the wisdom, the gratitude, and the clarity they've given you. And know this: prosperity is not waiting at some far-off destination. It's right here, in the choices you make today, in the energy you carry, and in the way you open yourself to life. This is your time. This is your invitation. Walk into it with courage. Walk into it with joy. And let prosperity, in every form, find its way to you.